It's the first day at a new club. In my opinion, it does not get any more exciting than that. And I am very keen to get started with Ebbsfleet United. We do have the slight problem that we're completely financially crippled. But for once, I'm kind of happy because it's not been caused by me. What's happening, guys? Hello and welcome to Season 3, Episode 5 of Unknown to Icon. And welcome to our new home. We are now officially the manager of Ebbsfleet United. It's a very exciting time for me. I love a new club. And I've got to be honest, I'm quite excited to be in England. Some might say a little bit of a step down from where we were at Vanarama United. Obviously come into play in the Vanarama National League South. I'll be honest, the South isn't actually a league that I manage in too often, so I'm keen to get involved in that. Plus, also, we're back to wearing red, which, as you can tell with me being a Man United fan, I like red over blue, so it's lovely to be back with my favourite colour. Such a small thing, but so significant for me. Quick look around the club. As you can see, our captain at the moment, if we have a look at the key staff, captain at the moment is Taylor Benoli. A little bit awkward, because he's definitely not going to be in my starting 11. Vice captain, however, is in the starting 11. George Lapsley, would help if I could say his name. He is our vice captain, central midfielder. Looks like a good player. Don't know what's going on with these star ratings here, because it says he's a half a star rated player, and he's definitely not. And it says that George is a 1 star rated player, and he's definitely not as well. So I'm not sure quite what's going on there. Key player, Jake Grant, definitely. 18-year-old centre-back, our best centre-back at the club. Very excited to be working with youth like that. And then our hot prospect is Julian Weir. He is an attacking midfielder from the left and a striker. He's a 1-star current ability player, but he has got 5-star potential ability. So looking good there. Bank balance is one thing that's definitely concerning, as you see. Obviously, league position 23rd, I think we can pull ourselves out of that. We're only 10 games into the season, and it's a pretty big season. If we just have a quick look, if we go to rules, there are 46 games. So we've got plenty of time to overcome the issue of where we are in the table. Bank balance, however, is going to be a small problem. I think the majority of it is caused by the amount of loan debt that the club has. But if we just have a very quick look at finances, it's not looking good. We're £2,000 over, or £2,500 over our transfer budget, and we are currently spending £8,879 a week for our wage budget, and we have a wage budget of £6,577. And I have removed all the staff that we had that we didn't have the budget for. So we got rid of a performance analysis, hilarious staff management, to be honest. One performance analyst that we couldn't afford, but we have 0 coaches. We had a technical director, which we can have, a loan manager, so I had a sports science, so I've moved them all on, which is good. Obviously, that's nowhere near fixed our wage spending problem, which is going to be an issue, because there's not really a lot of players that I would want to get rid of out of this squad. If we go and have a quick look around the team, jump into the squad planner. As you can see, for goalkeepers, we've only got 2. Miles Roberts, 22-year-old goalkeeper, 3-star current ability goalkeeper. He's on £400 a week. Our backup goalkeeper, Ben Bottomley, 21-year-old keeper. So, similar in age, really, £200 a week for a 1.5-star keeper. He's probably one of the players that I'm going to potentially move on. I was actually looking at Connor Byrne, the lad that we had over at Ballinamallard, to see if he could potentially fill this guy's role for a non-contract, which is what I'm hoping to do. If we have a look at right back, we have got 2. So we've got Connor Roberts and Lorden Colbeer. I'm going to go with that. I'm going to call him Lorden. That's about it. 2.5-star and 2-star. Now, £375 a week for a 2.5-star centre-back who's playing at right back. Probably not the right idea. And considering he doesn't get into my centre-back situation at the moment anyway, Lorden might be our number 1. We might have some trouble when it comes to right back position. In terms of centre backs, we've got plenty. 5 central defenders. Jake Grant isn't going anywhere. £575 per week. He's nowhere near our highest paid player. That's the scary part. But 3.5-star current ability, and he is looking good. He has got a 5-star potential ability moving forward. 18-year-old Irish lad. He spent most of his time at Crystal Palace, is where you probably would have seen him before, and then he signed last season for Ebbsfleet on a free. Not quite sure what happened to his career at Crystal Palace, but good that Ebbsfleet managed to snap him up, I suppose. Ethan Walsall, is another centre-back for us. He's a 3-star centre-back, 525 per week. This will be our centre-back pairing. Obviously, at the moment, I've got Ben Wells in because Ethan Walsall is out for the next 2 to 4 weeks. Not too bad. He's currently suspended, so he's serving his suspension at the same time as being injured, which is great. Ben Wells, 2.5-star centre-back. He's on £500 a week, which that's probably the concerning one for me, is somebody who's not going to be a starter for us being on £25 less than our starter. But then he can play defensive midfielder as well, which one of the tactics I'm going for might need a DM. Evan Fogarty is a central defender with 2 stars, and Joe Ostler is going to be moving out of the club. 34-year-old veteran centre-back. I won't be using him, but he has 2-star ability for now. Maybe a move in January, but he's not on any wages, so unless he plays, there's no problem anyway when it comes to finances. Having a look at left-back, we've got a few here. Harris O'Connor's going to be moving on, so let's get him out of there. We have got Joel Taylor. He's 28 years old, 2.5-star current ability, 525 per week. Lorden can also play left and right back, which is perfect. You haven't seen it too much because I haven't been able to find any that have been on our radar, but I absolutely love having a fullback on the bench that can play on both sides. It's just perfect. And Lorden can also play centre-back as well, I believe. Evan Perry is the 19-year-old fullback. He's a left-sided fullback only, 2-star current ability, so it could be interesting to see what happens with him. Playing in our box-to-box midfielder role is going to be George Lapsley. He is on a non-contract, which is fantastic, but also scary, because at some point in time, there's going to be a wanted sign here, and he won't be with us forever, which is a concern of mine. 3.5-star current ability, which is awesome. Aaron Cool, I assume that's how you pronounce that, Cool. I did check, he is English, so I'm just going to go with the pronunciation that I think is right. So, Cool, Aaron Cool. He's actually starting as our advanced playmaker, so he's also a 3.5-star current ability player. Taylor Hart is going to be a young one to keep his eyes on. He's unhappy at the moment because obviously the club are in serious financial trouble, which that isn't going to change anytime soon, so he's going to have to get over it. £400 a week. This is a scary wage bill. Aaron Cool has near enough the same amount of wages as what I would want across both of my starting central midfielders at this kind of level. So we'll see. If Aaron Cool isn't doing it for me, he might be moving on, and that frees up some wages. Well, I was going to say for some other players, but it doesn't. Just means that Taylor Hart will be starting instead. Taylor Maloney, who is obviously our captain, unfortunately, he's a 3-star rated central midfielder, which is fine. It just means that he's not going to get in the starting team, which is a concern considering he's the captain. But he's injured for the next 2 to 5 weeks anyway, so let's not worry too much. And Mikel is a 2-star central midfielder, 18 years old. Lot to look forward to here in terms of Taylor Hart and Mikel. If we can keep hold of these players, they could be our central midfielders for a little while as George and Aaron start to age. Aaron may not be here for very long anyway, especially if Taylor Hart has some good performances. Might be quite tempted at the idea of moving Aaron on and using Taylor Hart because obviously there's just too much wage there for me. Same story across the other central midfielder slot. On the wing, we have got Sam Osborne. He looks like an absolute baller. 3.5-star current ability. He can play across both sides, which is great. £500 a week. Will Dawes is the backup there, and then Ryan McLean. I've actually got Will Dawes will be our starting left winger, and Ryan McLean at the moment is our starting left winger because of the fact that Will Dawes is injured for the next 2 to 5 weeks. A lot of players out for about 2 to 5 weeks in this Ebbsfleet team. Those are our wingers spread across the 2 wings. As you can see there, just literally swaps around Will Dawes and Sam Osborne. Up front, we have got 3 strikers at the club. This is the thing, we don't have that big of a squad considering how much we're overpaying on wages. Charlie Hughes is a concern for me. He's 28 years old. At the moment, the way I have it set up is Jack Connor, 21-year-old striker, 2.5 stars. He's currently starting as my deep line forward. And then Joe Wesley, who's a 2-star striker. Again, our strikers aren't that good. Is starting as our poacher on the left-hand side of the attack. Charlie Hughes getting on. 2-star current ability, £450 a week. Probably not going to be here for too long. January might be the time that we move him on. I am looking at a couple of loan players. I'm looking at one for the left wing because at the moment Ryan McLean's our only option, or Sam Osborne because obviously Will Dawes is injured. So I am looking at a loan for left wing. I'm potentially looking at a loan option for right back as well, which means that we could maybe move Connor Roberts on. If he's an absolute superstar, we'll keep him around. But with Lorden there as a breakthrough prospect, if we can bring somebody in on loan that's a 2.5 or higher, we might as well, if we can get them for free. And then what that means is that £375 a week, we can stop spending on Connor Roberts. And then, to be honest, a striker I'll probably look for, somebody on loan as well. Then we can move Charlie Hughes out of the club. I'm not a very good mathematician. If we were to move on Charlie Hughes, we were to move on Connor Roberts, and we were to move on Aaron, if that comes around, 1.5, just shy of 2,000 off of the budget, which would almost take us down to being under our wage budget, which would be great for the financial repair of the club and Taylor Hart's happiness. In terms of squad dynamics at the minute, managerial support is very poor. I don't really understand, because I've just started in the job and your last manager got sacked. So surely you'd be a bit happier about having somebody turn up who kind of has an idea of what's going on. As you can see, there are 10 other people that are also unhappy about the club's finances. This could be a problem for us. But yeah, that's where we sit at the moment. We're looking for a couple of loans to fill positions that we're a bit weak in and maybe be able to help us get rid of some players. Ben Bottomley, we could look at a potential goalkeeper to bring in as well on loan that could see us through. But for now, that's where we're at. If we have a quick look at the schedule, these guys have been struggling. They only recently got a few wins, one of which was in the league. They've won one game in the league all season. The rest of it had been draws and losses, and you can tell it's definitely having an effect on the team and their confidence. Are, however, through in the FA Cup, so we're through in the third qualifying round, which means we are playing the fourth qualifying round today against Haringey, and then after that game, hopefully, we'll be through to the FA Cup proper and get some money flowing into the club. That would be good. Let's have a quick look at the starting lineup for today's game, and then we'll play the match against Haringey. First match in charge. Thought I'd show you. Here we go then, a brief look at the tactics and the squad for today. So I'm doing something a little bit brave. I'm going to attempt to play a control possession tactic in non-league. I have a feeling we might have to quickly scupper that idea, but for now we are playing a 4-2-4 control possession positive tactic. We also have a fluid counter-attack tactic that we're going to be playing, which will be a 4-3-3, and then similar formation of 4-3-3, but a route one tactic as well. So we are going to be training these in the background so that the team become more familiar with them. If controlling possession just falls apart, which quite likely with the quality of players that we have, then we can move along. But here we are for now. So in goal, we've got Miles Roberts, which is our starting goalkeeper from now on. Taylor is going to be occupying that left back spot. Grant and Wells make up the two centre backs for the day, with Connor Roberts at right back. Lapsley and Cool are playing in central midfield as a box-to-box midfielder and an advanced playmaker. McLean is our starting left winger today. Osborne on the right wing, and then up front, Connor and Wesley. I feel like with strikers at the quality that we have, a pairing is going to be the way forward. So ideally, I don't want to fall to those tactics where we are using a DM. But we'll see how we go. This game probably isn't going to be any kind of indication whatsoever, because it's against Haringey and it's in a cup. Haringey are in the lower leagues. The only senior team competition they're in is the FA Cup. So really, we should win this, and that would be lovely to get a win on the first day. Let's get stuck into the game and hopefully get that first W on the board. Right then, we are in FA Cup, fourth qualifying round. But they've actually had, in the last 5 games, Ebbsfleet have lost 1-1-1 lost. These guys have won, drawn, won, so they've only been playing in the FA Cup, which is interesting. We do have the slight problem, and there's probably some people out there yelling at me right now saying, Raz, what are you doing? You're playing all your best players, and you've got a game in 3 days in the league. Especially, I'm quite concerned, to be honest, about the wingers, but I don't really have another option there. We either play Sam Osborne and Ryan McLean, or we play a tactic without wingers. Not something that I'm wanting to do. We're getting dominated at the moment. What's happening here? They've had 4 shots already. This is a nobody team, and we're getting absolutely bossed. Oh dear. What has happened? It was at this moment I realised I made a massive mistake. How on earth have we conceded a goal like that early on? We're 17 minutes into the game. Are we like, what's happening? Taylor to McLean. Taylor with the ball in. Connor heads. Oh, lovely. That's a bit of a lucky one, but it's gone in. Jack Connor scores the first goal for us. Lovely job. He's going to be good in. He is going to be good. I've got a feeling. Young striker, he's going to come good. Same as Joe Wesley, to be honest. I think we're going to be moving the older boy out of the club. But that is lovely. Heads it off of the post and just trickles its way in. Nice to see. There is, however, a highlight from the off. These lot have been bossing us, which is a concern. We have dropped us down to a positive mentality as opposed to an attacking mentality. Maybe that was a bit full on for the first game. Osborne into Call. Through to Connor. Oh, I thought he was going to slide it across. He's not. Back to Roberts on the edge of the box. Doesn't do much with it and straight into the hands of the goalkeeper. Sort of left it too long there, to be honest. I would have wanted Connor to put the ball across a little bit earlier on. Lapsley does make the challenge, but unfortunately can't keep it away. What's happened there? Oh dear. Who was that? Grant. Needs to track back a bit quicker there. Lost his man completely. They've had 7 shots, 1 on target. We are starting to come into the game a little bit more now. 6 shots, 2 on target. Ball forward to Connor. That's a lovely ball forward. He doesn't do much with it again. Puts it across the front of the goal, and for some reason their goalkeeper pushes it out. So we have got a corner out of that, but a bit of a messy situation. Sam Osborne puts the ball in. Straight off the head of the first man. Not amused. Like in terms of performances, everybody's playing relatively okay. Ryan McLean having an average game. Joe Wesley not having a good game by any stretch of the imagination. Could potentially, very shortly into the second half, be the right time to replace him. Let's get into the second half and see how we go. Right, I've had a little bit of a shout at the boys. Not a shout, but I put my hands on my hips, pretended to be a teapot and told them that I thought they were crap. And hopefully they all reacted positively, so maybe something will come of it. Roberts, back to Roberts. There's too many Roberts. That looked like a handball. Headed the ball on. Looked like he did the hand of God. Bit of Maradona coming through. Locke puts it through to Fag. Fag well stops it. Lovely job. Lapsley puts it across to Connor. Connor's all over the place in a minute. This is great. He is literally everywhere that I look. Cool to Lapsley. Out to Taylor. Wing back. Through to McLean. Nobody in the box for him though. Taylor on the edge of the box. Is Aaron cool? Nothing's going to come of that. Lapsley picks up the ball again. Lovely. Oh, Joe Wesley. He's proved me wrong. Good job I didn't take him off. I think that was Aaron cool. Through to Lapsley, I think it was. And then a lovely ball forward to Joe Wesley, who's just absolutely shut me up, hasn't he? Oh, it was Lapsley to Call to Wesley. There we go. An assist for Aaron Call on his debut for me as a manager, at least. And away we go. That's beautiful. Much better. 2-1 up. That's where we wanted to be. Taylor on the edge of the box again. Does his man. Puts the ball up and over towards Connor. Not able to get his head on it this time. Frank's been a bit of a concern. Lovely. Roberts picks him up. That's perfect. Osborne wasn't able to win the aerial duel there. Taylor has picked up the ball again. He's a good little player. Oh. Speak and you shall be proved wrong about everything. Joe Wesley wasn't having a good game. Scores a goal. I say that Taylor's a G. Passes the ball straight to their player. Typical, isn't it, really? It's like football managers listening to me. It just knows. But this is not a bad performance from the boys. McLean's got all the way to the byline. Pulls it back to Connor. Back to McLean. That is a cracking goal. All the way to the byline. Drags the defender all the way there. Connor, ball popped straight back to McLean. And that is a cracking finish. Bit of hold-up play there from our deep line forward. Being kept on by the man that he's absolutely skinned. You love to see it. What a great goal. I think might be time for some changes very shortly. Now. Look, we've only got 3 subs. So look, we'll leave it at that for now. Connor Roberts comes off and is replaced by Lorden. And then George Lapsley comes off and is replaced by Taylor Hart. Let's get into the rest of the game. And we'll save our final sub probably for Ryan McLean or Joel Taylor, who looks like they are struggling. Also, don't want to put Jake Grant through the ringer too much because we definitely don't want him getting injured. But let's see how these boys can do. 5 minutes left of the game. We are going to bring on Joe Ostler to replace Grant. I think Jake Grant is just a little bit tired. He's the worst performing of the two centre-backs. And I want to protect him as much as I can. I think he's going to be a star player. But you know what happens when you play your kids too often. They do prolonged damage to themselves. You know, they really hurt themselves across the long term. So better to protect him. Don't want him playing too much if he's got to play again in 3 days' time. Hopefully the rest of these boys can recover in time. But the old man, 34-year-old Joe Ostler, comes in to replace Jake Grant for the final 5 minutes of the game. Relatively even game in terms of stats. This is something that I'm finding this year in Football Manager. Oh, here we go. I'll tell you about that in a second. Highlight. Ostler going to do something special, is he? Over towards Osborne. Humphreys gets there. Connor heads the ball down. Osborne! Sam Osborne scores a lovely goal, assisted by Jack Connor. That Jack Connor's going to be a good player, him. I've picked it already. I think I picked it before the game. I don't actually remember right now, but I think I picked it before the game. Connor heads it down to Osborne. Lovely shot. Their goalkeeper's had a bit of a mare, but that is perfectly placed just inside of the far post. And that will be that. Lovely. What a result for the boys. An 8.4 for Jack Connor. Looking good. I think if we can slowly but surely sort out these issues that we're having in terms of finances, with players being just on insane wages, like Aaron Cole being on £875 a week, there's that young lad that we've got who could potentially replace him, who wants to play as an advanced playmaker. We're going to have to give him a chance at some point and see how we go. But that is something that I'm finding this year on Football Manager. I don't know if it's just me and the tactics that I'm playing and you know how I'm going about it, but I seem to find that we see, no matter who I'm playing against, we seem to have a very similar amount of shots, especially when we're the favourites to win the game, or we should be. More shots is expected from me, to be honest, but we seem to always have a very similar amount of shots. It's just a case of whether our defences are capable of stopping them from getting them on target, which we obviously were today, and theirs weren't. But with an XG of 1.19, it is an absolute miracle that we won that game 4-1. Let's take nothing from this game. Let's press forward, and we will play some games in the league and see how we go in regard to whether or not we're going to be successful here at Ebbsfleet. Now, if you're uncertain, don't be. You definitely did just watch a non-league team play possession football and win convincingly. Yes, it was in the FA Cup, and yes, it was against a team that aren't in playable leagues of FM, but you're not taking that away from me. That's the first game as the Ebbsfleet manager, and that is the first W for us. Hopefully we can continue that form in the FA Cup and get some juicy money in, which we desperately need. And then if we can take that form into the league and get ourselves out of the relegation zone, we'll be looking good for the rest of the season. If you've enjoyed that video and the series so far, please do smash that like button and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more FM23 content.